I want to point out a post on social media that's attracting lots of attention. It asks readers to comment on this question. Did your parents or relatives tell you that they loved you growing up? Such a simple question stirring up a lot of emotions. So how much did you hear those three little words growing up, and do you wish you had heard them more often?
You know what's interesting? I think it's more of an American thing. I know,
Totally.
right?
To say I love
In
you like a
Haiti,
Hallmark card?
Right.
Yes.
Like,
Y'all talking about us Americans?
I know,
Yeah,
right?
we are.
We're talking about ourselves. Yes,
yeah,
we are.
We are. But I feel like it's becoming, it's an American thing. Like, I never really heard, I love you, I love you, I love you a lot.
Yeah.
Now, I do it with my kids. Like, Oliver will never hang up the phone without saying, I love you, bye. You know, even if he's in a hurry.
Why did you start doing it if you didn't hear it?
Maybe because I didn't hear it. Maybe because I didn't hear it, but I didn't realize that I needed to hear it. You know, my mom showed me love in other ways. She'd buy me little things that she knew I loved. That was her love language, but I never really heard it. But with my kids, I say it all the time. But I also feel like people sometimes throw that word around so much
Yes.
that you go, do you really?
Yeah.
You know,
But
so
that-
it's twofold for me.
I feel the same with you. In the Asian culture, it's a little bit more stoic, and the words "I love you" is not the mushy feeling goodness is not a normal thing. But I learned that in my culture, the acts of service, we're a very hospitable people. We're very much like, have you eaten? How are you feeling? Are you cold? You look skinny. Let me feed you. Like whatever it may be, they constantly like dote on you and take care of you, and that's their "I love you," but it's not enough. So as a first generation American, I noticed it around late 20s, and then I started to activate saying it all the time. Like, Dad, I know you're feeding me, but that means you love me. Tell me you love me. And now my family is super warm and very, very like open with saying I love you and hugging. Even when he hugs, if your dad hugs you, like, I don't know if anybody's a dad out there who gives you that church hug where it's like, oh, Gong, I love you, you know?
You
no,
go in.
both arms. Come on, Dad, put it over. And
Why
you
is
teach
that
them.
so important to you?
Yeah.
That you
Because
change that.
Because I need it myself, and I also want them to feel how good it is. Because if I love
Yeah.
it, wait till you feel it back.
Right.
You never got that in your family, and I
true.
want to break that generational curse.
Yeah. My mom was super intentional about verbalizing her love for my sister and I, and
Oh,
like
that's good.
also being affectionate and hugging us and kissing us and telling us that we're great because she never had that. So she was super intentional. She's like, she tells me now, she's like, I know my mother loved me, but I barely ever heard it, if I ever heard it.
Wow.
And I wasn't like coddled or told like, oh, I love them. All the mushy feels was definitely not a thing in her home. So she was very like intentional. Like when I have my kids, this is what we're gonna do. And I love that you're being
Yeah.
intentional about it.
Do
Your
you
mom
think
was
it made a
it's needed.
difference for you?
Oh, it absolutely made a difference in my life. It made a difference. Sometimes I felt like to a fault because I was raised with so much love and warmth and kindness that then you get out into the real world and you're like, oh, damn, not everybody's gonna love me. This is hard. And I had to go through a transition at some point where I recognized, especially when they say the first love that you know is the love you receive from your parents.
Hands
Yeah.
down.
The love, and so that's the love that I seeked. And it was really hard to find that in romantic relationships.
Well,
to find
other
men.
than saying I love you, what would you say is a way that someone could say they love you without saying it?
Can I ask that back on you? Because I've known you now for almost 8 years.
I'm asking you.
No, I want to ask you
How do you
because
show love?
I think we are a little mushy and goofy. We do be like, I love you. Me and Aid, you know, we always do that.
Yeah, y'all always.
I know we are. But how do you, because I don't know if I've heard, I know you love
by
me, but I've never.
supporting people.
Okay, that's your
That's
way?
how
I see that.
If
I
you
see
got
that.
something,
I
I'm-
could see that. I could see that.
Lonnie's love language
She really
is showing
is
up for you.
supportive.
Can I ask you why though?
Yeah.
Why for you? Like, is it not as something you throw out or say as easy or common
I
for
think
you?
it's important for us, especially as women,
Yeah.
to show support for each other, especially as women of color, because a lot of times we don't do that.
True.
I think we've been taught because of the way, especially in this industry, and I don't care what industry you've been, you know, it's just recent that you've seen more than one black woman, more than
Yes.
one woman of color.
Yeah.
So it's always been a competitive nature
Yes.
for us, especially for women.
And
so I
besides-
always try to support
Yes.
and show support for women.
And besides supporting somebody, if you feel it, do you say it?
Nah,
Can I know why?
I just don't.
Is there a reason?
Look, if I'm supporting you and I'm like, that baby is mine, you know I love you. I ain't gotta tell you that. That's what my mama
got
grew
it.
me up.
Okay. I could
Also,
see
your
that. I
emotions.
can see where that comes from.
I think
Yeah,
there
my
are
mama
moments.
was like that. Look,
Me too. I
You
can
see
you
that.
got a roof over your head. Are you
Right.
hungry? No,
Right.
that's love.
That's
But
Yeah, I
she'll
get it.
say
I
that,
get
you
it.
guys. But if Lonnie feels it, that cancer is gonna take up all
Y'all
those
gonna start to
emotions,
make me cry.
and she's
God.
gonna know it.